Hi, I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our
Today
channel.
we're watching the Apothecary Diaries Season 1, Episode 7. We think that there's a chance that Jinshi is the brother to the Emperor.
There was some suspicious things that happened last episode, like him looking disheveled and losing his normal glitter effect. And also the fact that when we see him, he's approaching the table that we are aware that is where the Emperor's brother was sitting.
Yeah, as Mao Mao said, he was acting more his age, and I think Mao Mao liked that quite a bit. What's going to happen going forward? Poison? Maybe. Consequences? Definitely. You ready?
Yes.
Sweet.
So since we normally watch these episodes kind of spaced out,
Yeah.
I have been really debating just binge watching the episodes we've already seen, just because I love this show so much.
Like
and
episodes 1 through 6?
Yeah, and I just want to be in the universe more, even if I've already seen it.
I don't often insert myself into conversations that I'm like, okay, guys, you need to watch this, to people who aren't us, but a few of our friends I was talking to the other day, and I was like, if any of you guys are looking for a new show to jump into, I could not recommend the Apothecary Diaries more. It makes my day every time I get to watch it. I
think one of the reasons that I'm like really into it and enjoying it is because it almost makes me forget that I'm watching this as a reaction video and that there's a camera, because it feels like something I'm like watching by myself or just with you.
See, I wonder what that is, whether it's like a mix between it's something that you typically would watch alone versus just like the quality of the content and like its, I don't know, approach. Mao Mao's dad? Yeah.
Why are we seeing this now?
A dream, maybe?
Did we get to be in contact with
Homecoming? No shot.
We were wondering if the dad or the women at the brothel would ever hear about Mao Mao.
I'm gonna turn it up. Yeah, he shouldn't have eaten it. I like the sound design of the feet hitting the floor there.
I can't go without makeup now.
I'm uncomfortable without them.
Put him to work!
Of course!
I feel like that's true. Are we double checking that not all of the soup was poisoned and it was just for Lishu?
So look for that human hand. Yup. I feel like I'm watching Bones right now. Wow. Wow.
Harassment.
Wow.
Bullying. Conjecture again.
I love how that's, you know, the preference.
確か派手な濃い桃色の。
普通に考えるなら、被る衣装を妃が選んだ場合、他の衣装を勧めます。そうでなければ、妃に準ずる衣を次女たちも着るはずです。お付きの者は皆白い衣を着ていました。
Wow.
桃色の衣装を着ていたリーシュ
Who
様
can't
は
a buffoon that can't read the room?
当然です。
Is it because it was the previous emperor, you know?
そうなると、桃色の衣を勧めるなんて。敵だらけの高級の中で、妃が真に信じられるの次女たちだけです。
And she can't even trust
Wow.
her
リーシュ
ladies.
様は次女に勧められるまま、わざと恥をかかされたのでしょう。
Jesus Christ, man. She hasn't been through enough.
それだけでなく、食事を入れ替えて。
毒とは知らずに、結果として命拾いしましたけど、嫌なやり方です。
どうしてそんなことを。
リーシュ様は幼いながら、その後すぐ出家した特殊な立場です。人に身をもって尽くすものだと、幼い頃から教育されます。亡き夫の息子に嫁ぐなんて、不徳も甚だしいということです。
Wow.
毒を混ぜ入れたのかと。
なるほど。
場所を指で怪我してはならない。
Oh, that even is a fucking form of disrespect.
私の見解
Wow.
です。
一つ聞いてよいですか。
何でしょう。
なぜ昨日あの毒味役の次女を捕らおうとしたのですか。追求するつもりはありません。
妃に比べたら軽くたやすいものです。毒味役の命ともなれば。
Even though she likes the job, she knows how scary it is for the others.
ジーン様にはうまく説明します。
ありがとうございます。ま、せっかく取り替えてくれたんだからお礼はしないとね。僕の味見ができたし。
She would have actually died.
飲み込んでおけばよかったな。
いつ聞いてもお前の物言いはうま
Of
いな。
course.
そうでしょうか。
内部犯だよな。
状況からはそうなります。
簡単に言ってくれる。この騒ぎで昨日から寝てきてない。思考を放棄したい。
素が出てきていますよ。
Natural self.
Oh.
私が
He knows.
そこはおまけで。
ダメです。
何を言ってもダメか。
長い付き合いですので。
We've had a long
I love
relationship.
that.
出た時から面倒を見られるの。
Look after you since you were born.
かんざし刺したままですよ。
ああ、いけねえ。
紙に書か
I
れて
have a feeling he's much younger than I thought he was,
気づく
Jinshi.
者はいないかと。
I don't think
True
anyone knows the true
status.
status.
またそんな雑に扱って特別な方しか身につけられないものですから大切にしてください。
I am so happy.
分かってません。それでは失礼します。
やるか。
Their relationship just became even cuter than it already was.
じゃあさ、かんざしもらったりした？一応。
The rumor mill is gonna be spinning.
高級から出られるんだね。今なんて言った？高級から出られる？その話詳しく。
Homecoming. This is how? How?
外の男性とは会えないけば、男性が女官を連れ出すことが。
We are gonna use Lee Haku!
それが園遊会で配って。逆にかんざしを使えば高級から出す。
What?
なるほど。ありがとうシャオラ。試してみる。
I feel like we're gonna use that puppy dog from last episode.
I completely agree with you.
Jinshi is gonna wish it was him, but true status, right?
もらったかんざしは全部で4つ。男性からのかんざしは2つ。大事なものを失ったあっちは男性とは言わないか。
薬や。
よし。
They do such a great job interweaving characters and plot points. It's fantastic.
義理のかんざしを本気にされたか。もったいないし。
It's the apothecary.
Only gave out one.
ということはあれか。さて、どう断るかな。
失礼します。
Wearing the freckles.
お待たせしました。
誰だお前。
よく言われます。
お前、化粧で化ける。
それもよく言われます。実家に戻りたいと思いまして。
実家？ これがどういう意味か分かっ
身元を保証していただければは可能と聞きました。
呆れたやつだ。次女の身分で武官の俺にしろと。
はい。
God, I love Mao Mao so much.
You don't have to turn her down now. Is he kind of mad he doesn't have to turn her down?
つまりなんだ。俺はジョーちゃんのってことか。
いいえ、こちらもそれなりに。
ああ。
6召喚でいかがかと。この紹介状を見せればわかります。ジョーカー、メイメイ。
Are those the princesses?
Oh my god.
Mao Mao! I love that this is coming back.
It's so good.
非常に残念ですが、たことに。
Oh my god, Mao Mao!
She's
So smart. Oh my fucking.
The two that are. Love it.
The voice actress is phenomenal.
Say yes. How is Jinshi gonna feel about this?
Wow.
Gyokyu does not look happy.
あの様子じゃ、かんざしの意味絶対分かってませんよ。まったくかわいそうなのはあの。
A certain someone? Who do you think? Yep. I find it amusing also. I also want to see what
Gyokyu
face.
is phenomenal.
Gyokyu is us.
You might be right.
ようやく暇になったジンシがやマオマオが出
Oh
not gonna be
no! He's going to be crushed. Oh, how she's phrasing it?
She's playing him.
画館の里帰りへ。
Oh.
I am so excited for the homecoming.
I hope her dad's okay.
Me too. Oh my god.
なんだか。
中級から最上級まで技女を取り揃えている老舗の技能ですから。
ばあさん、みんな元気に。
Oh!
How could you scare us like that?
何が久しぶりだい。
なんだよこのばあさん。
召喚の天使。懐かしいな。昔はよくこれで毒を。
おい、パイリン呼んできな。今日は茶引きのはずだ。
パイリン。
リハクさん自信はありますか？
Oh my god.
体は鍛えているつもりだぞ。
これはひょっとしたら。
こちらへどうぞ。
緊張してき
よくやってくださいね。
おお。
まあまったくお前はとつきも連絡よこさず消えやがった。まあじじいは家にいる。
Oh, okay.
通りを一つ。
Did they communicate with the letter?
途端に景色を変える。物乞いと梅毒のよたか。変わらないな。
Why do I feel like nervous?
I'm extremely nervous.
ただいま、親父。
おかえり。
You were out for a while. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry.
やっと帰ってこられた。そばかすの染料取りに行ったらさ、そこで。
Wow.
あさってには高級に戻るよ。
そうか。
眠いけど風呂入りたいな。
明日6召喚でもらい湯するといい。
うん、そうする。
How like immediate she gets into the comfort of being there. Like she never left. Like.
高級とは因果だね。
What does that line mean?
Do you think that there's any chance there could be like a familial connection?
I feel like that's the only reason you would add a line like that at
Yeah.
the end in like a cliffhanger way.
Man. Okay, that was Apothecary Diaries. The Apothecary Diaries, Season 1, Episode 7. Okay, so I'm gonna reiterate something I've said I think a few times before on the channel. One of my favorite approaches to writing any fictional story is, for me, is how an author approaches to tie in the next arc or bit of the story into the current story ending, right?
Mhm.
So, like, to make some dramatic examples, it's like when you have Dragon Ball Z or big, like, animes that have overarching, like, huge arcs. At the end or halfway through that arc, I really appreciate it if you're shown hints about what will be coming in the next arc, you know, and it's not just a blank slate. Oh, a new problem mysteriously appears just out of fucking nowhere, and that's a very, I think, easy thing to at least ask for when it's that big and broad of arcs, you know. But I think it's a lot harder to do it to do that in a natural feeling way when it's episodic in nature, and it's not arcs that you're doing it over. It's 6 episodes, 7 episodes. Now, one of I think my favorite moment of the Apothecary Diaries so far was the revelation of why Mao Mao wears the freckles, and the execution of that scene. It meant everything to me, and it was the most significant moment for the show for me so far. Now, to be able to utilize that to tie it into a bit of Mao Mao's personality, how big of a difference it is in terms of appearance and identification, and have it be the through line to Homecoming as a theme is absolutely perfect. I at the start of the episode, when we're given Homecoming and the dream of her father, I'm assuming that we're going to go back at the end of this episode and see her father. But I'm like, that's such a massive crevice to be able to cross. How would you be able to do it organically? And the fact that the reason that Mao Mao was kidnapped was because she was out gathering dye for Mao Mao's freckles, which is then the through line to taking them away, which puts on such a show of personality, which is a reason for the hairpin being involved, which is the way back home, and how the verdigris house is all tied into it as well. It's so perfect. And I wouldn't, if you told me last episode, it's like it's a perfect mystery in plain sight, because if you told me last episode, oh yeah, next episode we're gonna go back home, I'd be like, no we're not, there's no evidence, there's no fucking way, and it was all in front of us.
I would have said the same thing. I would have been like, how do we get home?
Yeah.
And I think part of that is that I don't know if this was actually, if this really does depict a specific time period, if that hairpin fact is something that really existed in history. Obviously, we do not have like a crazy... I have some knowledge of general history, but not a specific, like, what a hairpin given to a lady in waiting of a concubine could give her access to, which is leaving the rear palace. I would have been like, how? How does Jinshi get us because we told him about the freckles and he found out we were kidnapped and he feels bad, and so he somehow works out some type of trip, or maybe it has to be Gyokyu has to be involved and the other like ladies, and that's a reason that we can leave. Maybe it's that there's a specific item that we need to get for some sort of medicine that would only be like grown in a certain area. I don't know, but I really want to talk on what you said in terms of like the episodic pacing. Every single episode has had a beautiful flow to it in terms of bringing storylines or themes, kind of introducing or reweaving them in between different episodes, and then kind of closing them out or tucking them back in by the end of the episode. while also kind of letting you know what might be coming in the future, even if you don't have, like, hindsight 2020.
Yeah.
Once you rewatch it, you might be like, oh, that's exactly what that means. I understand it now. And that's kind of what's happened for some of the earlier episodes when we look back on them now. So it does make me think, I know that we've talked in terms of, like, adaptation, like, oh, is this a good adaptation of the manga? We don't know because we've never read it. But obviously, whenever you watch a anime that you're, like, super into and you think is really good, one of your automatic theories is going to be that it's a good adaptation.
Yeah.
Whether that's true or not is, who knows, unless they've read it, unless they've also seen the show. But it makes me wonder how the pacing of the manga is in terms of where there are, like, openings and closes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, does each episode here represent a chapter? Because it does kind of have that feel that there is somewhat of a starting point and, like, a kind of temporary ending point. That
Definitely.
There's a nice kind of door closing, but, like, the door is not locked. You can just reopen it when you come back for the next episode. And it does make me feel like these were already pre-existing pacing.
Yeah.
And that this wasn't just something that someone came up with when they were kind of creating the screenplay, if you will, for this animation.
I completely agree. I think a perfect example of that is Lihaku, right? Is that how you pronounce it?
I think it's Lihaku.
Lihaku. Like in hindsight, I'm like, if the setting of his character's introduction was any different, it would be bad, and I would feel weird about it. But the entire approach to what the party was last episode, and the introduction of hairpins to us as an audience, already setting, like, the stage for Lihaku's introduction with the hairpin. It is perfect. It's amazing. I love Lihaku too. He's such a good character.
I really like that he kind of misinterprets, as of course he would, like, oh no, she thought that consolation gift was actually, like, really my interest in her.
Yeah.
But, like, Mao Mao is not, we know her she doesn't believe in rumors, she doesn't love to gossip. Like, she'll hear it, but she also doesn't want to run her mouth. We get her always saying, and I think it's important to bring up for this episode, she is always hesitant to bring up something that is actual speculation or conjecture.
She prefaces
is not
everything.
Like, yeah, she's not like someone who just wants to go start rumors and gossip. Yeah, she'll listen to her friend telling her about what's happening around the rear palace, but she doesn't want to hurt anyone with her own words. But, you know, if she could also help someone with her own words, she needs to preface it. She likes to be smart with her word choice and also, like, really put out there, like, hey, this is just what I'm thinking. I have no evidence for this. It's completely, like, a coincidental case. I don't have, like, I have fingerprint evidence, but I haven't matched the fingerprints up.
Oh my god, what a moment, dude.
I just really love how she went into that interaction. She knew that she was gonna have to bribe him because she already knew that these were consolation prizes when she was given that hairpin. When he walked up to her, she was literally like, oh, here we go. This puppy dog's giving me a consolation prize. So she already knew that she was going to need to kind of butter him up, bring something to the table that was, like, worthwhile to him in order to get this trip that she wanted to do. And she's just so fun with the bribery and how she handled it.
Dude, I want to go back to you bringing up the bowl and the fingerprints, right? Because at least in my media experience, it's so, like, centered in technology that we have today that when when they brought up fingerprints in this episode, I'm like, what the fuck is gonna be the approach here? Like, I'm so used to, like, oh yeah, fingerprints, let's match a fingerprint kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
And it was such a rewarding delivery of, like, of Sherlock Holmes deduction of Mao Mao being like, add up the fingerprints and like.
And where it's directly where it's holding the bowl, and, you know.
And the sign of disrespect, even in, like, oh, you're holding it here to mix in the poison, but you would never touch where, you know.
Yeah.
God.
That of course the person that is willingly like poisoning someone also has the disrespect for them that they don't behave with like basic manners that an insider would know.
But it's also like now that we're getting a little bit used to the structure of the Apothecary Diaries, I'm like, holy shit. Like that's such a pertinent plot point from last episode, bringing it here in such an addition that we get it back to Jinshi, like through Goshin, and what that does is unlock a bit of Jinshi's actual character that we didn't know previously. Unlock lore about Goshin and Jinshi's relationship and how Goshin has apparently raised him, basically been with him since he was a little kid. And it sets up a plot point of this is an inside job and it's not going to be forgotten about because Jinshi needs to be on top of it. Like,
Right.
it's doing so many things.
If anything, it's making you... I feel like the last 2 episodes have been taking Jinshi from in my mind as being someone more mature, older, you know, than Mao Mao. But now it's almost like... I really want to talk about this. I think that this is like a really big kind of deal for this episode, at least for how I watched it, where you start the episode off, like we said, with seeing the kind of dream state with her dad. And of course, we end the episode off with her dad. But there's 2 points in the episode, other than those 2, that are directly connected. Like, that was the homecoming theme that was connected from start to finish. But a start to kind of midway point to then, I would say maybe even a third point, we get Mao Mao saying, I can't go without makeup now. Then we get this idea of Jinshi having a true status, that Goshin's been with him since he's a little kid. This idea that he's kind of really tired, he's forgetting himself, he's not taking care of special items.
Yeah.
This idea that he's maybe much younger and more maybe even immature than we thought. We have this idea of Lishu being gullible to bullying because of how young and naive she is.
Yeah.
And then we get Jinshi finding out that Mao Mao left, and this kind of like, he was waiting for his work to be done so he could go visit her. Like, I really love what's happening here, that this character that I saw from the beginning as being this, what we were shown what he was, in the same way that we thought Mao Mao's freckles were real.
Yeah.
We thought Jinshi's older, seductive sparkle was real.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. It's such a great parallel between characters, and how can we not leave that conversation and go immediately out of chronological order into the literal last thing we get this episode? Like,
right. Exactly.
With like
everything's so freaking
it's
tied.
so fucking good, and it's so good even though I don't know what the fuck it is yet.
We don't know
the
what it
Rear
means,
Palace.
but we know
What a
it's
twist
good.
of fate! Because immediately
The
I'm like,
Palace, what a twist of fate.
I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. Anything I theorize or hypothesize, I'm just gonna be a fucking idiot. But my mind's immediately like, holy shit, there doesn't need to be any connection there. What could a connection be? Is there a reason Mao Mao was able to get a job like and be closely associated with 3 princesses who were known famously? Is there a connection from Mao Mao's father and the owner of that place that
right,
seems...
how are the father of Mao Mao and the owner of the Verdigris house, or the woman that runs the Verdigris house, so close that Mao Mao is able to have this relationship? Is it merely just an apothecary doctor's relationship with a brothel owner? I feel like it runs deeper than that.
I'm just so interested. Like, do you have any just like, I don't know, gut feelings about if there is a connection or not and what it could be?
Part of me feels like it might, one of the theories you could go with is Mao Mao's mother.
Okay.
And we have this idea that her father is this very like timid and humble man that kind of just like stays home working. Like, even though Mao Mao has returned, he is still working.
Yeah.
He's like, what, grinding things, I think?
Yeah.
He's still working, even though his daughter that's been gone for like 10 months is sitting in front of him. And it might be like a coping thing. It might be because he wanted things to feel comfortable for her and, you know, not be so like, oh my God, reunion. Let's like, oh my God, my daughter's home. But wanted her to feel like she had never left. and for things to be normal when she returned.
Yeah.
He could have been like actively trying to do that. But it does, this line really makes you think that he and or you go with her mother had a previous tie to the rear palace, either military official and concubine. We have that idea with Lady Fuyu. Wait, we have to go with something that has already happened, possibly in the story, right?
Yeah.
In our theories. Lady Fuyu, concubine Fuyu. She is able to be kind of betrothed out of the rear palace.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't kind of get the emperor's attention, and a military official is able to kind of ask for her hand.
Yeah.
And she's able to leave with him and go get married to him. That's something that's already been introduced in the story.
True.
That could be utilized.
Do you remember which episode we got the ending that the emperor was asking for Mao Mao? Was that episode 3 at the end of coming up with the... I think it was.
Yes, because then the next episode 4, yeah.
Now, I wanted to try to look at the Emperor's eyes. I don't know. There's
they're
no
red. Yeah,
they're red, and then Mao Mao's dad's are yellow. But, like, the yellow in Mao Mao's dad's eyes, I feel like, is standing out to me for, like, a reason of, like... If we do learn about a connection, I could see, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Well, just in terms of, like, eye color and genetics, I mean, I don't know, is that like a gold brown?
Maybe, yeah.
Is blue the dominant? Or is
Man,
brown the dominant?
I am having so much fucking fun watching the show. Like it is
Trying
like,
to theorize.
I'm so excited. Other things that I wanted to talk about this episode. Gyokyu is the best character ever. You're
She
right.
made me
Gyokyu's
so
us.
happy.
Like I love.
Gyokyu is us.
Like the awareness of
Yes.
Jinchi's gonna fucking.
And
I'm
so
gonna
she played
bask
him.
in this.
She
Yeah.
was like, I'm gonna enjoy this. She's so funny. Like she knows. Back when Lady Luiha finally got better and the Emperor was gonna start visiting her again, we get Gyokyu being like, "Oh, thank goodness, I'm so tired and sore," and Mao Mao being like, "Why are you saying this in front of me? I don't need to hear this." Gyokyu's so funny. And then she, like, when she gives all her ladies in waiting items, and she's like, "Just so you know, you're mine and no bugs get to you."
Yeah.
And then she, like, immediately when she finds out that Mao Mao is leaving, even though everyone in the room is kind of like, does Mao Mao know what a hairpin means? Gyokyu's like, he, like, even if Mao Mao knows what a hairpin means and isn't doing this because she's interested in Lihaku, other people know what a hairpin means. There's gonna be misunderstandings, there's gossip there. Mao Mao left with a military, like, officer.
Yeah. Man, I fucking hated, we got the vibe that the food taster was, like, being a bit sadistic and, like, this was intentional to fuck over Li Shu. Like, not in the, oh, this is gonna kill her way, like, but I'm gonna fuck with her, I'm gonna bully her, right?
We got the reaction to her finding out that this allergy really could
eventually and it was genuine.
Li Shu, and her reaction to that was truly, like, fearful. Like, she's not trying to murder people out here.
But fuck them all.
Yeah.
Fucking, a wife must sacrifice everything for their husband. We're taught this from a very young age. From that perspective, to wed her deceased husband's son is an indecency beyond words. Petty assholes, man. I don't, them wearing white, they're...
For, like, all just the
How
white
old's
symbol.
Li Shu, 9? Or was?
Do you
God.
think the choice of white holds, like, symbolism in terms of what white normally means, which is, like, a purity?
I don't know.
Like, that they see her as, like, being kind of a stain because of this indecency of... But also, like, did she really have a choice to be the concubine of the new emperor? I really don't think that she would have had a choice there.
Man, I almost cried. I was getting, like, just Mao Mao walking up to the house.
To her
I was
dad?
So terrified something was gonna be wrong, but what actually, like, occurred was just as emotional for me. It was so great, and you brought it up with, like, how easily Mao Mao's able to fit back in the comfortability, like, within this is home. But I really loved her dad's reaction, like, you were out a while. Welcome
Yeah.
home.
It reminds me of when I was like at college and I would come home for like a long weekend or something. And I had been at college for months, you know, and then I come back to my bedroom that I've had since I was a baby, basically.
Yeah.
And get to like be in my old room, you know, have my parents cooking, you know, just that like what had always been so normal for me. I was always able to, you know, get right back into falling asleep really quickly.
I really love Mao Mao so much. I relate to her so much. Like, I'm so sleepy, but I want a bath too. Like, I don't, like, I'm like, yeah, dude.
I really like that she got this opportunity. I think that as a viewer, I would have continuously, and I think as time would have gone on, I would have continuously had more and more of a problem with the fact that no one, as far as we knew that she was here and that she was okay and safe.
Man.
And I think I would have had to, like, further and further been like, okay, can we please just check in on her father and the brothel, please?
Remember episode 1 when we were like, these 3 princesses, the verdigris house? This seems like
a lot of lore.
Are we ever gonna come back to this like seasons later?
Harry loves muscly guys.
Oh my god,
you're
I love it. I like the show a lot.
Me too. I'm so happy with what's happening here. I think specifically with Jinchi and Mao Mao in terms of like, this episode had no interaction with the two of them, but the two of them next to each other was huge in this episode in terms of like how we look at both of them and what both of their kind of like stories are overlapping as young people.
Yeah. Man. You know, this isn't gonna hit YouTube for a couple weeks, this reaction. So it might be weirdly timed, but for us, this is the first time that we're watching something in like about, I don't know, what, 4 days, maybe 5, 6 days.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels like it's been like a month just because we usually like record so often. But I've been going through a lot of stuff and it's sucked. And I felt like the worst person in the world and that everybody was going to hate me and be mad at me. And everybody who does watch us has apparently been nothing but supportive and nice about what I'm going through. And that really means a lot. But I love this show, and I'm excited to watch the next episode and watch other shows.
Yes, I agree with that. I'm excited specifically just like to be back in all of these amazing shows that we're watching. But this show in particular,
What a great
show. Now I have another episode to add to my like binge watch of the series so far that I want to do.
I don't want to be this person because I never try to be the person who's like, I love sub and dub for like, I love certain aspects of it for each show, right? Okay. Like, I think that after watching Steins Gate on the channel, I went back and started trying to watch some episodes in dub, and I really like the main character's English dub too, for a different reason. I think that voice actors, whether it's English or Japanese or whatever language, they can bring their own like performances and make something different with the character. But I am so obsessed with specifically Mao Mao's voice actress here that like if I rewatched the first 6 episodes like you're alluding to you potentially doing, I would have to watch it in sub again. Like I could not, like, only because I love it so much and it's so like fresh and new in my heart, you know?
I feel like Mao Mao's voice actress, at least for the sub, because obviously I haven't heard what the voice actors are like for the dub.
I'm sure that's great.
I'm sure that's great too. I would actually love to hear it. I mean, there's definite. I've heard from different shows, like there's been characters that I've always been curious to hear how the dub voice actor ends up doing it. Like, do they try their own kind of version or riffing off of what was originally done?
Like our quotable ones, like Gyutaru from Demon Slayer.
Yeah, that's one of our like favorite ones to talk about in terms of voice acting. Do they, or like I feel like Roswaal from ReZero, there's a few different characters that have like a very distinct voice acting, and it makes you really curious to hear, do they try to reinvent it? Do they do a complete new voice for this character? Do they try to emulate the voice that was in the sub.
Yeah.
And I feel like Mao Mao's I'd be very curious about, because Mao Mao's voice actress changes for like Mao Mao's different kind of moods, and when she gets a little more sneaky, a little more scary, a little more threatening, to when she's all happy about food. I feel like I would want to hear all those different inflections and emotions and see what it was like in the dub.
I'm with you. All right, you good?
Yep.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.